We'll see. Spain is a work in progress, but we've slowed it down because, if you can slow what we do down any further, because of their economic situation. The satellite teams, what satellite teams are in both Western Australia and Queensland, basically the satellites receive a feed from the parent station. So you don't have to build the station, because that's our biggest resource sucker. It takes all of that funds, and together with volunteers from the community, they have their very own radio Lollipop service, and it works very well. They take part in the programs and the play activities in the same way as sick children in the larger hospitals where the Lollipop is actually based. We're talking to a hospital in Melbourne at the moment, and we're thinking about starting it as a satellite from Brisbane, interestingly. Because we're on the same time zone, we can do it. The time zone is the only thing that throws us out. It'd be hard to do it from Perth. And the service has been so successful that many more regional hospitals are asking for Lollipop services. We started a discussion with Gladstone, and we've got a couple of other places that are talking to us as well. Current status, I say we're a 99% volunteer charity because we have 2 part-timers around the world. One in Auckland and one in Perth. And their role is to make sure that we pay the insurances, pay the bills, all that sort of stuff. So they are office admin, and they come in, I think they're about 2 days a week. So they're a little less than half-time, so I'll give it a 99% for that. Let's talk about where we are in Australia. There's roughly 4 million children aged under 15 years in Australia. 1/5, roughly, 90% of the population. The children's hospitals treat over 1 million children each year in Australia, and are roughly nearly 530,000, or 8% of the total hospital separations. That's a night in hospital. These are the only figures I can get, 20405, involve children under 15 years. So that's 530,000 kids under 15 years have spent a night in hospital in a year. There's over 300 children admitted to hospitals every day on average, and a further 3,000 occasions of service or care are delivered. So that includes emergency and stuff like that. And then those stats come from ABS and the Health of Children in Australia, a snapshot. Our vast distances mean a large number of regional hospitals serve very large communities, or large areas of community. And we've identified over 30 potential base and regional hospitals that could be radio Lollipop sites where the concentration of children is such that we would actually deliver some value in what we do. Through those 30 potential base and regional hospitals, that would possibly we could be supporting over 200,000 sick children across Australia each year. That's in addition to those that we already service through the major pediatric thing. So the customer base is big, and the potential customer base is big, and the fact of the matter is it's growing. Children don't stop getting sick, and our population is growing. Funding, we do it all ourselves, and we do it. And there are people who are philanthropically minded, which is wonderful, and they give us kind and they give us money. But basically, we rely on the voluntary efforts of fundraising by the local stations, by the board, and by others. Originally, each station achieves some income through local sponsors and individual donations. The interesting thing about our organisation is, once you set us up, we operate on the smell of an oily rag. Basically, it's just the craft materials and the need to pay licences and insurances and all that sort of stuff. But effectively, once we're set up, it just chugs along, and you don't really need to put a lot into it except volunteer effort. So the MARTA has been operating on roughly $40,000 a year in funds required for the last 10 years, I think. That's going to go through the roof when we go to the new Queensland Children's Hospital, which I'll talk about a bit, because it's going to be 1.5 times bigger than what we do. That suggests we're going to have 1.5 times the amount of craft material, because we're going to be serving that many more customers, and we're going to have 1.5 times the numbers of volunteers. So that's an interesting management problem we have. And internationally, for the international board, we're funded out of the other countries. They pledge a bit of money for us to be able to get together every year and do some of the things that we do. Our challenges. In 2013, we're moving to the new Gold Coast Children's Hospital, which is under the aegis of Griffith University, I believe. We've got our fingers crossed. Nobody's come to us and said we need you to pay any money. They've suggested to us that it's just pick up, go. We're not rattling the cage. We're going to keep that very, very sort of, oh, fine, happy, we can do it, where do you want us and when? We have seen where we're going. They've given us a smaller area to operate in. It's fine, we can operate in small areas. In fact, I've probably bored you with this story before, but in Edinburgh, when we opened up in the Royal Children's Hospital in Edinburgh, in Scotland, there was no room. No room in Edinburgh at all, until somebody said, well, there's the Queen's bathroom. And as a royal hospital, you have to have, or a royal anything, you have to have a royal bathroom set aside for the case once every 10 years she visits, she might need to go to the loo. She can't possibly use whatever you and I would use. So she has a royal bathroom. And somebody wrote to the Queen and said, do you mind if we borrow your royal bathroom? She said, no, you have it with my blessing. So we have a royal gift of a loo. We operate out of the Royal Loo in the Royal Children's Hospital in Edinburgh. So we're not fussy. Wherever we can stick the equipment, pardon the illusion, wherever we can put ourselves, we will put ourselves, and we will operate from there. So we can operate from a cupboard if need be. So it's just a matter of being there is the important thing. So in 2013 we moved to the Gold Coast. A bigger challenge in 2014 as we moved to the new Queensland Children's Hospital complex, which is next door to the Mater in Brisbane, if you've been there. This is the sticker shock that we're facing at the moment. We've calculated we need about $500,000 to do that. 21 years ago, we raised $108,000 in one day, as it happened, to launch Lollipop into the Mater. All the radio stations in Brisbane got together, and in one day with a radiothon they organised $108,000. They were going for $100,000, and it was great to see them overachieve. So you do whatever that multiple is. That bought the actual broadcasting equipment and set up a studio. So we can do that, we know. The problem is that another organisation who's also been appointed, where there are two of us appointed as children's entertainment units into the new hospital, us and the other organisation. The other organisation said we'll do all the architectural stuff and we will do and manage the build. So for a 50 square metre space we've been given a bill of $325,000, which we're not accepting lightly, I must say, and we're coming back through that. But it is a fact, it will cost us a lot of money. So that's one of the things I'd like everybody to think about today. How can we help get that? Now, we're not sitting on our hands. We've applied for every grant known to man. We're doing that. I've appointed, if you like, an advisory group in Brisbane to help us raise the money specifically for this. And there are some other bits and pieces we're chasing down. But every dollar will help. And I actually think that's a conservative estimate, because we also have to buy the uniforms for 1.5 times the people. We have to buy all of the stuff for the kids to use and play with. So our running costs go up by at least 150%. I'm hoping we might be able to make it just 100%, but we'll see how we go. So that's a real challenge. The big problem with modern hospital design, and I think they're doing it in the Gold Coast as well, it's a problem is that they're building them as single bed wards. Now there's a reason for that. It's all about infection control, which is terrific, because infection in hospitals is a very dangerous thing. However, the downside of that is that it further isolates the children, and it really underscores the continued and growing need for intervention services, for entertainment services like ours, to come in and actually interact with the kids. Because when I went to hospital in Gunnedah, where I grew up, it was a good old district hospital, and I went into hospital, I remember, when I was about 8, I think, and I was in a ward with 12 other kids, or maybe 11, it was a 12-bed ward. And it was great, because you could have a chat with Johnny down in the corner, and if your mum and dad couldn't come and see you, Johnny or Freddie's mum and dad would always make a point of coming and saying hello, and you never felt isolated. You were just part of it, you became part of that big thing for the 3 or 4 days I was in hospital. The problem now is that doesn't